Hello and welcome back to my channel. Dinar and Dong Updates, Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong, a deep dive into currency revaluation, economic reforms, and what it means for the future. I hope this update finds you well. Today we'll explore some of the latest developments surrounding the Iraqi Dinar, IQD, the Vietnamese Dong, VND, and broader economic changes that could shape the future of these two nations. These updates are based on first-hand reports, government movements, and expert insights shared across finance-focused communities. Renewed hope in the IQD revaluation, a first-hand account. A well-known commentator in the currency revaluation community, often referred to as Guru Mars, recently shared a compelling story that sparked fresh hope among dinar holders. According to him, a message he received stood out due to its source and content. It came from someone whose son, an experienced day trader deeply familiar with global financial markets, had always been skeptical of the IQD investment. However, something recently shifted his perspective. The son had been monitoring market activity and noticed some irregular patterns, particularly related to the Iraqi dinar. Fluctuations in value, subtle yet persistent, began appearing across trading platforms. Curious, and admittedly a bit concerned, he reached out to a former employer who now works in a bank. The response was unexpectedly direct. The banker reportedly told him, "You should definitely get some dinar. Hold on to it. Keep it close. I believe it's going to exchange very soon. I'm not joking." That simple, confident statement was enough to turn a skeptic into a believer. The son began taking steps to acquire IQD, suddenly convinced that something significant was on the horizon. According to Mars and others in the community, these sorts of stories, especially those involving banking insiders, add credibility and emotional fuel to the possibility of a dinar revaluation in the near future. Iraq's customs reforms, building the foundation for economic growth. Beyond speculation, there are tangible reforms taking place on the ground in Iraq. One major development involves the General Customs Authority, which has announced new procedures aimed at streamlining trade operations. These changes are designed to enhance the efficiency of customs, clearance, combat smuggling and illicit trade, promote transparency and support local industries. This marks a meaningful step toward creating a more robust economic infrastructure. Iraq's economy has long been overly reliant on oil exports, but recent years have seen increasing efforts to diversify income sources. By modernizing customs operations, Iraq positions itself to attract foreign investment, expand regional trade, and bolster domestic production. In essence, these efforts reflect a broader vision, a strategic blueprint for national growth. The government is clearly signaling its intent to build a modern, multifaceted economy. This has major implications not just for investors, but also for Iraqis living at home and abroad. What does redenomination really mean? If you've been holding Iraqi dinars with hopes of future gains, you've probably encountered the term redenomination. It can be a confusing concept, so let's break it down clearly. Redenomination is a process where a country recalibrates the face value of its currency, typically by removing zeros from the denomination. For instance, a 1,000 dinar note might be replaced with a new 1 dinar note. On the surface, this may appear simple, but it carries substantial implications. Let's imagine a hypothetical situation. The new exchange rate is set at 3.22 USD per new dinar. If you bring an old 1,000 dinar note to a bank or exchange house, it doesn't mean you'll receive 3,220 US dollars. Instead, you'd only get the equivalent of 1 new dinar, or 3.22 US dollars, assuming the redenomination is applied 1-to-1 in terms of value. This can come as a shock to those expecting massive returns from their holdings of old currency. But it's crucial to understand that redenomination isn't meant to provide windfalls. It's part of a carefully managed economic process intended to simplify financial transactions, reduce inflationary distortions, build trust in the national currency. Without these controls, the system could spiral into chaos. Imagine millions of people flooding into exchange offices, attempting to cash in old notes for enormous profits. The resulting pressure would overwhelm Iraq's financial system, destabilize the economy, and threaten the country's ability to manage its currency. That's why redenomination plans are structured to prevent financial exploitation while ensuring long-term stability. It's not about denying people value. It's about creating a sustainable economic environment for everyone. The bigger picture: reforms and currency strategy. While some may view redenomination as a setback, it actually signals progress. Iraq is not only changing its currency structure, but also introducing lower denomination bills. This move reflects a deeper objective: to support daily transactions, encourage economic participation, and build confidence in the financial system. Smaller notes make it easier for citizens to conduct day-to-day business without needing huge stacks of bills. They also align Iraq's currency system more closely with global standards. These changes may seem cosmetic on the surface, but they're deeply strategic. The Iraqi government is committed to long-term planning. By aligning its currency structure with broader financial reforms, such as digital banking, tax modernization, and business development, the country is laying the groundwork for a more functional and integrated economy. What about Iraqis abroad? Many Iraqis living outside the country are watching these developments closely. For some, the idea of returning home, once unimaginable, now seems possible. A stronger, more stable economy could create opportunities for starting small businesses, investing in real estate, supporting local communities, participating in national recovery. Of course, returning to Iraq is a major decision that involves emotional, financial, and logistical challenges. But success stories are already emerging. Some returnees have found their investments in agriculture, hospitality, and retail yielding impressive results. They're not just making money, they're contributing to Iraq's resurgence. If you're considering this path, here are a few practical steps. 1. Stay informed. Follow official announcements from Iraq's Central Bank and Ministry of Finance. 2. Connect with others. Join online communities where returnees share insights and experiences. 3. Evaluate finances. Budget not only for relocation costs but also for long-term sustainability. 4th. Visit first. Before making a permanent move, plan a visit to assess the environment, speak with locals, and explore business opportunities. Why redenomination doesn't equal devaluation? One of the biggest misunderstandings surrounding redenomination is the idea that it automatically means the currency is being devalued. In truth, these are two very different processes. Redenomination is a structural adjustment meant to streamline the currency. Devaluation means reducing the currency's value in relation to other currencies, often due to market pressures or economic instability. In Iraq's case, redenomination is not being driven by weakness. It's part of a proactive approach to monetary reform. And while the dollar exchange rate may fluctuate day to day, the overarching goal remains the same: to stabilize and strengthen Iraq's economic foundation. Latest exchange rate movements. On the day of this report, the US dollar showed mixed movements against the Iraqi dinar. According to a survey by Shafaq News, in Baghdad, central exchanges like Al-Kifa and Al-Harithiyah recorded a rate of 147,500 dinars per $100, a rise from 146,950 dinars the previous day. In local exchange shops, the dollar was sold at 148,000 dinars and bought at 146,000 dinars per $100. In Erbil, the dollar was sold at 146,900 dinars and bought at 146,800 dinars, showing a slight drop. These fluctuations are normal during periods of transition and should be interpreted within the larger context of Iraq's monetary strategy. The broader aim remains improving purchasing power, encouraging local economic activity, and restoring international confidence. Vietnam's parallel story. While Iraq garners much attention, it's worth noting that Vietnam is also in the midst of economic evolution. The Vietnamese dong, VND, has long been undervalued in global markets. However, the country's export-driven economy, growing manufacturing base, and stable governance have led many to speculate about a future revaluation or monetary shift. Like Iraq, Vietnam has made strides in modernizing its financial systems. Digital banking, foreign investment laws, and labor reforms are all part of a long-term vision. Though changes to the VND may not be imminent, Vietnam's path shows how disciplined economic planning can lay the groundwork for future monetary shifts. Final thoughts. Be informed, be realistic, be ready. If you're holding IQD or VND, it's vital to approach these situations with a clear, realistic mindset. Don't fall for hype or exaggerated claims. Redenomination, revaluation, and currency reform are complex processes, influenced by dozens of political, economic, and social factors. Here's how you can protect yourself and make smart choices. Learn continuously. Knowledge is your best asset. Follow official sources. Rely on updates from central banks, ministries, and legitimate financial outlets. Avoid scams. Be wary of individuals or platforms promising overnight riches. Plan strategically. Whether investing or returning to Iraq or Vietnam, take a long-term approach. Remember, a currency is more than just paper or